YouTube land, and welcome to the Get In and Get Out Nintendo Podcast, Episode 12. I am one of your hosts, Dantes, and joining me, like always, the man, the legend, in Splatoon, Leones. How you doing, Caleones?
Hey, how you doing, Dantes? How you doing, everybody? And another week and another pretty good game release for this week as well. So we're gonna talk about it later on. But we have sales numbers coming out. We have news about new games and people and other companies talking about the Nintendo Switch. So take it away, Dantes.
So, what have you been playing, Caleones?
For most of the week I was playing Splatoon 2, of course, but there's a certain game that came out on Friday, and I have been playing that as well. So it's a mixture of both.
Yeah, Sonic Mania. And of course, what Caleones means that he's been playing Splatoon 2 is this week. The first episode of Streaming Wednesdays came out here at the Force In Unison gaming channel, where Caleones played a little bit of Splatoon 2. Watch him at first struggle, but then afterwards he started kicking some ass. So some props for Caleones over there. But good job, Caleones. I wanted to give you props for the good stream on Wednesday. Some people came around, so that was good. Hey, the two people who always watch us, thank you guys for joining us at the Streaming Wednesdays. Of course, Thursdays also, we put in Gameplay Thursdays when myself went through the beginning trials of the Trial of the Sword. So watch me kick that trial's ass. For my case, I've been playing Sonic Mania, which is the game that we're going to review today here at the podcast. Really fun game. I'm going to leave my thoughts. There's some good, there's some bad. So we'll talk about it more. And also, I finally returned to my roots because of Caleones. I've been getting all that Nintendo, I guess, sweet juice all over my face, and I've just been playing Nintendo games lately. I needed to go back to my home, the PlayStation. So this weekend I platted Platinum number 126, Stardust Ultra, which I'm gonna do a gameplay Thursday for Stardust Ultra. So stay tuned for that. Anyway, Caleones, let's do our rigmarole, shall we? Like always, thank you everybody for joining us at the Get In, Get Out Nintendo Podcast, Episode 12, right here at the Force In Unison gaming channel, every Monday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Remember that, my friends, so you can come down and watch our latest podcast. Remember to subscribe, like, and comment so you can make these two crazy motherfuckers happy. Of course, if you don't want to see our ugly faces, I got a solution for you. Go down to SoundCloud and iTunes and download this podcast for free. Rate us over there and show us some love. Also, we have a small Facebook page, so please go to @Forcing Unison Gaming. And finally, and Dantes says finally, go to chiguerosnews.com and give some love and clicks to my boy Caleones. With all that said and done, Caleones, are you ready? I said, are
Ready.
you ready? For the no one in attendance, and you can see it because of my background, no one is here. So for the no one in attendance, and the two people, maybe I'll start saying three, and the three people watching around the world, let's get ready for Reggie's News Center. My body's ready, Caleones. And Moso with this mic who looks like a penis a little bit. Anyway, go ahead, Caleones. Take it away. How many items we have today?
Currently we have, I believe, like 10 pieces of news. Actually 11 pieces of news. So we're gonna have, there were a couple of them that, for example, had to do with the sales. So we combined those over. But let's go ahead and start with the first one. So the NPD report for July has been released, and the Nintendo Switch reigned on top. Not only that, but Splatoon 2 was the best-selling game of the month. Breath of the Wild came in as the fourth best-selling game, and for probably like the third or fourth year in a row, Grand Theft Auto 5 was number 3 on there, so it's still on the top 10. Rounding out the other Nintendo Switch games, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was number 7, with ARMS coming in at number 17. In Japan, the Nintendo Switch sold 87,000 systems, along with 45,000 of the 3DS, and another 88,000 copies for Splatoon 2. As far as the NPD report, it gives us the rankings, but it doesn't really give us the specific units of the items. So we don't have information on those. But um, Nintendo keeps doing good. So what about those numbers?
So I got, again, take the numbers with grain of salt. After the MPDs came out, I went digging in NeoGAF, see if I could find some numbers that came out. Supposedly, Caleones, Splatoon 2 sold over 300,000 copies, 330,000. So pretty good month for Splatoon. Again, that with the sales of the Japan, which is already close to 1 million units sold. Splatoon is doing pretty good around the world, and we don't know the UK number, so I'm guessing Splatoon is going to be a 2 million seller easily at some point. The other news is the hardware sales. This is the one that is interesting, right? Switch was the number one selling console in the month. It sold around 222K in units, and the PlayStation 4 sold 217Ks. I have never seen a race this close in a long time. But again, it puts you that if Nintendo had more consoles available, maybe they would have a bigger lead. So we have to give credit for that. The interesting part is the Xbox. So I don't know. And I'm thinking I'm going to leave this for our new show every Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time or 9 p.m. Eastern Time, depending. We're going to do live with Force in Unison, and we're going to discuss other things other than Nintendo in that show. But we'll be live, so you guys want to join us, please join us. The sales of the Xbox was under 100K. And to my understanding, based on the numbers, this is the worst selling, not only Xbox month, but Xbox year. So so the numbers don't look good, but again, I want to leave that discussion more to our live in Force in Unison show.
Yeah.
But good
For that, I
numbers.
believe there's certain things that I mean certain scenarios that could play a part on that, but of course, we're going to touch upon it later on. So it's not all of it going to be like dark and gloom and that there's no. But yes, I mean it could be part of it as well. So we'll talk about that later on.
Yeah. So no, and I was gonna say too, if you sell a top 20 games, interesting numbers. Splatoon number 1, Crash Bandicoot. Fucking Bandicoot is still selling. I don't know how the fuck. I mean, who would have thought that one of the best selling games in this couple of months was gonna be Crash 2? So I mean that if it's a time exclusive, Sony did a good negotiation with Activision to get that game time exclusive because they're getting all the software sales for that sucker. The other interesting, Zelda Breath of the Wild, tier number 5. Nintendo's still selling. Oh, another one that I was really surprised. And again, another good for Sony, even though it's not from them. But Final Fantasy 12 was number 3, I think it was, or 4, close to that area, right? So they are selling also another game that is only in one console. So you have to give it credit because you don't have multi consoles and it came on the top 5. Again, Zelda Breath of the Wild, ARMS, I think it's still there, right, Caleones?
Yes, number 17.
No, look at that, number 17. Again, like we said last month, I don't remember the last time Nintendo was having so many games in the top 20 of MPD. So really good job by Nintendo.
Yeah, overall, they had I think close to the same amount as the PS4 games as well. So they were pretty up there. With Crash, I'm gonna be the first one to say that I did not expect the game to be as successful as it is. It was the number one selling game in the UK last month, and overall, it's done surpassed everybody's expectations. It's kind of like Sonic as well, Sonic Mania, where it is like an old-ish game brought new
old
again.
Old school platformer. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, it's like an old school game. That's the best way to describe it. So, I mean, pretty much companies from now on, they're probably going to be looking at their old catalog and what they have and bring it forward again. So, I mean, now, even though it's the 2010s, 3 years away from 2020, but there's certain companies, Nintendo, Sega, Capcom, Sony with Crash, and that they have, well, not exactly Sony with Crash, but they have a vast catalog of games and that are 10, 20, 30 years old that they can pretty much just recreate them, bring them on again, not necessarily sell them at full price, like both Sonic Mania and Crash were they were lower than the $60 retail price and still sell good. So we're probably gonna start seeing more of that, and I'm okay with it.
Hey, you have to give props to you. Just said Crash. Crash is not Sony. It's Activision.
Yeah,
But
it's not Sonic. Yeah.
but but the game who paves the way for all this was Ratchet and Clank. You have to give it credit. Ratchet and Clank said, "Look, we're gonna make it AAA. It's not gonna be as long as maybe other games, but we're gonna sell it for $40." Boom! That game sold like hotcakes. Couple of months of MPD, UK, and everything. To me, that started the trend that you could see the mascot platformers coming back. And now with the success of Crash and Sonic, just show you that maybe we're gonna see Spyro, maybe next, right? Or what other mascots? Conquer. Sorry, Microsoft. You got Lucky still. Anyway, and then what else? Oh, Sly Cooper. Maybe we see Sly Cooper return for the PlayStation 4. We haven't seen it since the PlayStation 3. So
And
again,
I'm crossing my fingers for a new Jack and Daxter as well. So
Jack and
we'll see what
Daxter.
that happens.
Maybe we'll
I mean,
make
they've been
another
doing
Jack and
remakes.
Daxter. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, not remasters, not remakes. So they've been doing a couple of remasters on those. And I believe since you were getting the new Uncharted game, you should have gotten the Jack and Daxter
Yeah.
game for free.
Yeah.
And I think last week they added. I mean, this is a Nintendo podcast, but just to throw it out there, and a couple of days ago they added the trophies for the PlayStation version, so you can get the trophies for that game
Another
ahead of the
plat.
release of it. So yeah, Dantes is going to be jumping all over that one.
I know I do have reserve Uncharted, The Lost Legacy, so I'm looking forward. That's my game next week. This weekend I will get the plat for Hellblaze, Hellblaze, right? Oh, forgot the fucking
Yep.
name. Anyway, one more item before I move for the sales, because again, I've been surprised. I am a hardcore gamer, right? Caleones is a hardcore gamer. We know about games. We follow the industry. This is our hobby, right? And we like talking about games. But something showed me this week that I think Nintendo has something on their hands with the Switch and why it's selling so well, right? I had two work friends who, one of them, give you an example, is an engineer who was visiting our site for a project that we're working on. And he went straight to GameStop when he heard that there were Nintendo Switch availables. The last Zelda game that this person played was Majora's Mask. And he's looking forward to play Breath of the Wild. Another work friend, bought a Switch layaway because he knows that he's not going to find it in Christmas time now for his son because he knows how hot the item is. And he bought Street Fighter for him. So, and again, he's not a gamer like me or Caleones. And my other friend, he's not a gamer, like hardcore gamer. But the Switch, there's something about this Switch that non-gamers are buying the system and why it's so hard to find. Again, the question, like me and Caleones, we always discuss this: how long can Nintendo sustain it? That's a good question, and we'll see how long it lasts. But before you start, Caleones, the only thing I'm gonna close with is that I'm seeing so many non-hardcore gamers getting the system. But go ahead, Caleones. Sorry.
No, I was going to say that we're going to touch upon this point again on the last piece of our news. Something that was said by one of the other companies, the game makers. So we can continue this talk and
Yep, that's fine.
and because
Let's hit
I'll say that's what he said is one of the best promotional pieces for the Nintendo Switch by a non-Nintendo person that I've heard lately. So
And you're talking about the CEO of EA, right?
yes,
Okay.
yeah. So that was a pretty good one. So moving on. As far as the Nintendo Switch, we continue talking about the sales. It did sell more than the PS4 and the Xbox One combined on the last month, and we also heard that Nintendo Switch should start receiving a healthy amount of supplies for the stores. The other day I was over at the Best Buy, and even though they didn't have them out, they said that they did have a couple of the systems in the store. So Nintendo, it seems like they're doing a better job of supplying it. Not as good of a job as in Japan because Japan they're still doing the lotteries and all of that. So, but here in the U.S. it's starting to trickle in to the point where it's not going to be bought right away, and it can probably be on the shelf for half an hour before it's sold. So again, I mean we're going heading over to Black Friday, Christmas, and they're getting ready. So that's good news for
So
someone that wants to get the system.
so you brought a good point. This is gonna be interesting. Can they get enough systems for Black Friday? Because you have to admit it. Xbox is coming hard with their X, right? PlayStation is gonna have bundles up the ass, and I'll bet you $100 the PlayStation is gonna lower the price of the Pro, and they're gonna lower the price of the basic PlayStation 4, and they're gonna have bundles with 2 and 3 games and all that shit like that that you do when your console has been on the market for so many years now, right? But Nintendo has a chance to win just by the again. I have non-gamer friends who are buying this system, right? I can count 4 people from work who has bought this system and they're not hardcore gamers, trust me. So it's gonna be interesting. I think Nintendo needs to really a little bit maybe pull maybe some of the stock if they're having trouble still and leave it for Christmas, making sure there's ample supply for Christmas because everybody's gonna buy this sucker on Christmas and you don't want people disappointed in Christmas time. So we'll see how it goes. But again, Nintendo, please do keep doing what you're doing. Try to supply the market, but also supply Black Friday because you could have a big win on Black Friday. I don't remember the last time Nintendo won a Black Friday, so we'll see.
Yeah, but yeah, moving along and how Nintendo is building the hype up over until Christmas. On this September 8th, there's going to be a Splatoon 2 bundle, a Nintendo Switch bundle that's going to be available. It's going to be a Walmart exclusive, and it's going to retail for $379.96. The bundle is going to include the Switch console. It's going to have the Splatoon themed Joy-Cons. It's going to have a digital copy of Splatoon 2, and it's going to have a Splatoon 2 themed case as well. So 379.96. I think it pretty much comes up to be a wash with the price. It's not that they're selling it more or for less. It's about what you would pay retail if you buy them separately. But with the Splatoon 2 theme color Joy-Cons, how fast do these bundles are gonna sell?
I think any bundle is gonna sell right now. I mean, fucking GameStop hasn't they been just selling fucking bundles right now, trying to chop you in the ass? Hey, buy the carrying case. Hey, buy a second charger, a second dock. Shitty games you don't need. Come. You want the Switch? We got it right here for you, but you're gonna have to chop all this crap up your ass. So I think that's what GameStop has been doing. Now this bundle is kind of like an official bundle from Nintendo and Walmart working together. So again, that means if they're starting to make bundles for Christmas time, Nintendo, you wanna win Christmas? You wanna destroy your competition Christmas? Drop Mario Odyssey in a bundle. Get the Joy-Cons in red on both sides with an M in the sides, and boom, you drop the mic, son. You drop the mic and you're done. So that's what I'm saying. I do believe that bundles, again, like you said, they're trying to promote. Nintendo is on fire. This the way they're promoting the Switch is way better than what they did with the Wii U. Let's just say that. But anyway.
Yeah, yeah. It's they're moving along from the sales. We're gonna talk about a new game that was announced. Lumo, which is an isometric adventure game with a modern twist, is coming to the Nintendo Switch. This game will test your skills as you maneuver through over 400 rooms as you uncover the different layers of secrets and mini games. It was released on Sony and PC platforms, and the game will retail for $29.99. I know it's not a big AAA title game, but it's not yet another game that is coming over to the Switch. We're getting a bunch of indie games and smaller games, but for me, those games are perfect for the system. A system that you can take with you, pick it up, do a quick play, and and put it down if you're going to be playing on your break, lunch, or whatever. So, what do you think about Nintendo continuing to get a pretty good amount of games?
There's some games that are great on the Switch, and you brought that game, but I would say the reason I bought Sonic Mania, right, for the Switch is because it's a quick pick up and play game. So, I mean, more games will come to the Switch because of that reason. And to clarify, I also bought Sever again to support and promote my good friends at Drinkbox. They deserve for the sales. They're great developers. So I bought Sever on the Switch. I'm gonna play it too to see how it works. It's just I haven't had a chance because I was playing Sonic Mania. But yeah, again, more games. It's good, dude. So it's all good.
Okay, so news piece number 5. For all you inklings out there, the theme for the next Splatfest has been announced. You have until the first weekend of September to decide, would you rather have flight or invisibility? The choices this time around seem much better than the previous 2 Splatfests. So and it's not going to be like kind of lopsided like it was on the other Splatfest. I think this one's going to be pretty even. But Dantes, which side do you choose?
Uh, I don't know. I could give a flying fuck, but what was last time? Ketchup and mayo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Woohoo! That's Splatfest. Anyway, I'm making fun. Splatoon is a fun game. It's just not for me. But if I have to pick, I guess invincibility, right?
No,
Because what?
invisibility. So
Oh,
you're going to be invisible.
yeah, invincibility, right?
Yeah.
Oh, what? How you pronounce it? Invincible.
Invisibility.
Okay, whatever you're saying. I want to be
Okay.
invincible. No, I want to be not visible. I don't visible. I'm a Spanish speaking person, so I apologize. I want to be invincible. I don't want people seeing me, okay? Because this would be a great power for me to hide in good places. Anyway, I'm gonna leave it right there. But that's my pick. Go ahead, Caleones.
Oh, I mean, I was going to say with the games like Senran Kagura, you're not going to have to hide it. You can just pull it out
I
in
don't
front
don't
of every.
mention that game. Don't mention that game. I no, don't, don't. Anyway,
Okay,
keep going.
so yeah, News Speeds number 6. Sonic Mania has released and it has quickly become the highest rated new Sonic game in 15 years. Currently sporting an 86 Metacritic score, the game has caught everyone by surprise. So Sonic Mania indeed. What do you think?
Well, what I think. If you want to find out what me and Caleones think about Sonic Mania, please stay tuned for Onuma's Nintendo discussion when we review the game for you. Go ahead, Caleones, to the next piece of news.
Okay, and continue it with Sonic Mania. So far, Takashi Isuga, head of Sonic team, they have said that they have no plans for DLC on the game. Do you think this is something that, the game kind of caught them by surprise with
Yep,
both the critical and
yep.
commercial success, or are they more concentrated on Sonic Forces?
They got caught off by surprise. Remember, this game was Sonic Mania was developed not by Sega, so I would say they just caught off by surprise. They're probably saying, "Fuck! Imagine if our Sonic game doesn't sell or it's not great." And then this guy who's not even part of Sega, we just hire him as a subcontract and just destroyed us with a better Sonic game. There's gonna be some egos that are gonna be really hurt down at the Sega's development office. So they better, the new Sonic game from Sega, they better be good. It's better be good because people are gonna let them know for sure. Now about why there's no DLC, yeah, they got caught off by surprise. They could possibly do like a Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles, like continue the story because the ending was left open. So I'm not gonna talk about it, spoilers, but well, it's a fucking Sonic game. Like who the fuck gives about who cares about story? But anyway, the ending was left open. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do a DLC or a Sonic Mania 2 in the near
Yeah,
future. So
I don't think necessarily DLC because the game is $20. It's not like they're selling it for 60 and then you can buy, $15, $20 packages. Just make Sonic Mania 2, sell it for $20 and you're gonna make reap the benefits again. So yeah, I don't think a DLC is gonna be needed. Just make the sequel to it. And for a game that is not, 5, 10, 15, 20 hours long, it's a good, couple of hours long. So yeah, they can definitely work on a sequel and don't worry about the
yeah,
DLC.
yeah, I agree. Yep.
Okay, so moving over to news piece number 8. So we've already talked about the ginormous success of Dragon Quest XI on both the Nintendo 3DS and PlayStation 4, and selling more than 3 million copies, combined on the two systems. Then Square Enix released a statement addressing the success of the game, and quote, "We believe that we can reach the lower end of our unit sale plan. Our goal is to reach the upper end of that plan, but we believe that will depend on how sales of the 3DS version trend going forward." Reach the lower end of our unit sales plan? Are you kidding me?
This is this is fucking Square Enix. That's why they have the issues that they have, right? Because if you remember the Tomb Raider game, right? The last one or the first one. It was the first one, the first Tomb Raider, the reboot Tomb Raider game. They were like, oh, it wasn't successful, even though it sold like 5 million copies. I was like,
I think it was more than that, but yeah.
yeah, something to that extent. I don't remember, but it was more than 5 million. Let's just say that, right? And they were like, oh, it did not meet our expectations. And I go, what in the fuck projections are you doing? Who's making your budgeting? Because again, if you guys know business, it's basically you set up a budget for your product, and you're gonna say our sale estimates is gonna be this, so we can give this budget, so we can get this much earnings, right? And they show this plan to the shareholders and stuff like that. Okay, we're good. We're gonna hit it X, Y, and Z, right? And then Tomb Raider was like not a success with 5 million units sold. You know how many companies would kill for 5 million? That means that you're fucking up in your budgeting, right? And they're saying that Dragon Quest is hitting the lower end of their sales expectations. I'm like, do they think Dragon Quest is fucking Grand Theft Auto 5? No one is expecting that. Who the fuck is expecting this shit? So this is me struggling. That's why I miss the old Squaresoft days. Square Enix just like, what the fuck are you guys doing? I'm hoping that this game meets it. It's coming to the West, so probably that's what they're saying. They're hoping they're gonna meet their goal expectations because it's coming to the West. For that Square, then you need to put it in many systems as possible, right? So 3DS, Switch, and PS4 in the West. So we'll see. It's just frustration with
So
Square.
I think I really think that okay, so you're gonna have to count the sales from the West. So whenever it comes over to the West on PS4 and 3DS, you're gonna have the additional sales, and then more so when you go ahead and release it on the Switch, you're gonna have the people from the 3DS double dip and buy it again on the Switch. So that's gonna be even more sales that you're gonna have on the system. So yeah, that's why I think they're gonna wait longer on the Switch version of it, and until they release it. So yeah, I think it's going to be release it on the West, make additional sales, release it on Switch, have the people double dip again on the system, and by now they've at the very least they have to have already broken even on the game. So you have a game that hasn't been around for a month. You've already sold more than 3 million copies combined on the two systems, and I'm pretty sure the production on the 3DS wasn't as much as it was on the PS4. So
Yep.
still. And that's the one that is probably going to end up selling even more copies than the 3DS over the PS4. So I mean, what the hell, man? I mean, you cannot make
It's
things this.
Square doing bad business,
Yeah.
that's for sure. But we'll see. Hopefully, it won't hurt the game. We'll get more Dragon Quest in the future.
Okay, so well, going over to news piece number 9, talking with Edge Magazine, Jim Ryan addresses success of the Nintendo Switch, saying it's still very early. Many things Nintendo does are so disruptive and different that it takes quite a long time to understand them, and I don't think we're at that stage yet with Switch. Like I say, it's great that they're back. It's great to see them doing so well. I don't know about you, but for me, that kind of sounds like we are still trying to understand the concept of the Nintendo Switch, but once we do, we will completely steal their idea and release a similar system. Don't you agree?
No, I think it's more Sony's out of the portable handheld realm. They know that they're never gonna get that realm. The PlayStation is doing so well. Why would you want to do a handheld system when your system is selling so well? I don't think in this case Sony will steal their concept or anything to that extent. I mean, companies steal their concepts consistently. I think it was more what I felt. I didn't took it that way. Of course, you took it to the hardcore way. I took it more like a backhanded compliment, right, from Jim Ryan. Like, we still have to wait and see how the Switch is doing, but it's good. It's good that they're back. This Jim Ryan guy, I don't like him. I'm a Sony fan,
Yeah,
but
but
you give bad names to Sony fans anyway.
yeah, but I'll say this actually did sound a lot better than things that he's been saying on the past couple of weeks or past couple of months. So I'll give him credit that
I
he.
still want him to shut
Yeah.
the fuck up. In my opinion, just let Shuhei talk. Just let Gio Corsi talk. Just let Mark Cerny talk. Andrew House, everybody else except this motherfucker. It's kind of like for Microsoft, Aaron Greenberg. Make that guy shut the fuck up, please. So everybody has a troll, and Nintendo doesn't have one. Reggie sometimes fucks up a little bit, but I think Nintendo, because they don't speak English, they don't have people fucking up consistently. Anyway, I'm joking, but you know, at least Nintendo. I think if you put the three companies, Nintendo's the company that stays the most quiet from the three, I guess.
Well, I'll say like as a Nintendo fan, I kind of wonder if, I mean, you have the Nintendo, the Japanese people talking, and then you have the translator kind of like being like, okay, no, I'm not gonna say that. I'm just gonna say this instead. So kind of like changing what it is that they're saying. But but I'm pretty sure Nintendo is the cleanest one and the most honorable out of them. But yeah,
Sure. I guess if you feel that way.
yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
But yeah, moving over to number 10. So Xenoblade Chronicles 2 has been rated by the Australian Classification Board,
Woohoo!
receiving an M for mature, which is, technically a T 14 here in the US. It gave the rating because of mature themes and violence and online interactivity. So online interactivity, Dantes.
Yes.
What is that about?
I don't know.
Or what could it be?
I'm not developing the game, you fucker. No. I don't know. It could be like X. It could be that you have small missions that you can take with other players online. Kind of reminds me of the first Fantasy Star Online on the Dreamcast. So something like that. Small missions, nothing big, nothing, because this is a story-based game. This is not like X. So I'm assuming that it's a first-player game through and through, right? So you can go through the story and all that fun stuff. What I'm excited is they got rated, right? So that tells me that the game maybe is more advanced than I expected. I may be surprised. I am still saying that this game is not coming out this year. I am standing my ground. No way in hell this game is coming out this year. So, but maybe I will be surprised. I don't know if this game comes out this year. I don't know what the hell I'm doing with my backlog of games. I'm like, no, please, no more, no more. But anyway, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, Xenoblade is one of my favorite franchises of all time, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's for me. I mean, if somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but usually when games are ready, it means that the games is pretty much finished. So that it can't be in the midway through the production or anything. It has to be pretty much complete before the game can be rated. So they know exactly what content is going to be found on the game. And the other thing about when the game is going to be coming out. So we were talking about Black Friday, Nintendo. We have Mario Odyssey coming out on the 27th of October, and then we don't have. Well, the only thing we have coming out close to Black Friday is going to be Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. So nothing for the Nintendo Switch. Do you think maybe Xenoblade Chronicles 2 could be the Black Friday release for Nintendo?
No, no. I honestly, I'm struggling with this game coming out in December anyway, because it's kind of like after everything has gone through, Christmas is over. I mean, it's tough to sell games. I think this could have been a perfect February game. Like in February, Christmas has died down, people are coming back to normal. Boom, February or March. Perfect, perfect time. Sony has shown you that you can sell a lot of exclusives February and March. They've been killing it this generation on those months, right? So I wish that Xenoblade was coming that time. November, you got so many multiplats. You got a lot of people still buying Mario Odyssey. It's gonna get drowned, and I don't want this game to be drowned. It's twice Nintendo's doing this to me. X came out late in December. Again, yeah, some people bought it, but still, it could have had more, right? Xenoblade, the original Xenoblade, is a huge cult hit, huge cult following. They sold everything. Even Nintendo was fucking surprised how in the fuck this game sold. Because I think Xenoblade Chronicles came out in April, if my memory doesn't fail me. So, and they had a lot of exposure because of the fight of bringing this Japanese games over here to the West, which was Xenoblade, Last Story, and Pandora's Tower, right? So maybe that's why it became a cult hit. But still, you can build upon, and I don't feel they have built upon the original. Like X was left up to die, and now 2, Chronicles 2 is again in a rough area. I don't know. I don't like how Nintendo treats Xenoblade sometimes. Sometimes it pisses me off, right? I wish that it would get the same love as like Splatoon and Fire Emblem. Fire Emblem didn't used to get any love, and then it started selling, and then Nintendo was like, oh fuck, we got a good franchise here, and now they're showing them some love, right? But so why don't they do the same for Xenoblade? That's where I'm struggling with Nintendo on it. So anyway.
Yeah, I mean, as far as Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and yes, it is a game that it does need the exposure, and it needs to be pushed by Nintendo because it does have its following. It's not as big as the other one, but it is a franchise that does deserve to be I mean, embrace, love, push, and for people to enjoy it because it's going to get overclouded by the other games that are coming out. But it does deserve the attention. I mean, not to say that this one is not going to be, it's going to be a great game. Things could happen. It may not be as good as everybody wanted, or it could be the best game and even surpass the original one, but the original Xenoblade Chronicles. So it'll that's we'll have to see once it comes out, but I think it does deserve as much as a push as Fire Emblem. We also have Fire Emblem Warriors, which, as far as I know, it doesn't really have a release date, does it? They haven't
No,
announced a release
they
date,
haven't
so
announced it. No, not yet. Yeah.
that's another one that could be either November or December, depending on how Nintendo plans to release the games after Mario Odyssey. But as far as the Xenoblade Chronicles 2, I'm on the same boat as you. I would love to get it as soon as possible and play it, but at the same time, I want the game to succeed, and probably giving it like a February or March release window would be the best thing for it.
Yep. I agree. I agree.
Okay, and going over to the last piece of news, and this is the other one that we kind of like touched upon earlier on the podcast, but EA Vice President Patrick Sutherland explained that he was initially puzzled as to how people would use the Nintendo Switch, even wondering why they would play a game on it instead of another console. Much of this was clarified later on, expressing his thoughts on it. End quote. It's doing really well, which I love, but I'll be honest, when they first showed it to me years ago, I didn't get the concept. I was puzzled by it. But then I was like, it's Nintendo. They probably understand something that I don't. They usually do. I have a 4-year-old son, and it's like it's connected to him. He will use it as a portable machine. He will plug it into the TV. But more importantly, he uses it like, do you want to play with me? Then he takes up the Joy-Con and we play Mario Kart together. He's using it as intended, which just tells me that it's working right. I think it's a pretty special machine because it's not just more of the same. I looked at it and thought, why would you play on that instead of this? But now it's crystal clear. That's the Switch. I know that fans, as well as myself, we have been pretty skeptical when it comes to Nintendo, and critical as well, because they haven't really supported Nintendo consoles as of late. And currently they only have FIFA 18 on the works. They have said that they're gonna support it, but they haven't specified what other games they're gonna be bringing over. But um, this gives an indication of why EA may have not thought about other games, to have for the system ready, and why it's probably taking a while, to have others. But should we be more, I guess, should we expect more support from EA now that they've gone more into detail?
So yeah, to your point, that was a good promotion for the Switch, giving them props. But I mean, every company right now is giving props to the Switch, so there's no surprise in there. EA was like, let's not go behind there. Let me show my support. Nintendo, 1, 2, ah, whatever. The problem that I have with EA is that I don't expect them to support the Switch, and you as a Nintendo fan, I'm gonna tell you right now, I wouldn't hold my breath. You're not gonna get much EA support, right? But they're saying that they're using FIFA to gauge the system and see if they want to bring more games. My problem is, would FIFA be the right game to gauge the Switch success for the company? That's what I struggle with it, right? You know what I'm saying? It's like, I think I would have brought another different game. Why wouldn't they bring Star Wars Battlefront 2? Maybe, I don't know, a Switch version where at least you have more people, maybe not play online, but they can play co-op, and yeah, have a little bit online and smaller maps and stuff like that. I would have used a different game to gauge the success of the Switch. Personal opinion, but
Yeah, but I mean, I think not necessarily a Battlefront. Even if, I mean, they could do a re-release of the first one and just set it as a budget price. But they could also use the same assets that they've been using for the Battlefront games and do like a remake of the Rogue Squadron games. So that's something else they could do, especially since Rogue Squadron and Nintendo pretty much go together, and that's how people have come to know the two games. So it'll be right at home. So that's something else that they could do. As far as FIFA 18. It's one of those games that it should sell pretty good on the Switch, especially with the concept on play on the go, get connected with other people. So I expect the game to do good, and it's coming out. I don't know exactly, but it's next month that's going to be releasing. So I'm pretty interested to see how the game is going to sell compared to the other systems as well. But as far as other games. I'm gonna still be holding out hope that there's other things that they have planned for it, and that they want to take advantage of people buying the games, because a lot of people are buying games for the system. Like I said, that we talked about last week. I don't know how many games I already have on it. It's on double digits, probably like 15, 16, 17 games. Of course, Sonic Mania being the last one that I got for it. But Yeah, I think EA is getting ready to bring more games, not necessarily the big AAA titles, but we should see some kind of support from them.
We shall see, Caleones. Damn, Caleones, that was a lot of news. Ready to burst out. But it's time to move to our next segment, of course. So, Caleones, if I wanted to know what games came out for the Switch, what is our favorite store to go to, my friend?
Well, our favorite store is going to be Shigeru's Mini Mart, soon to be Supermarket. And today we have six game releases. They released in between the 15th and the 17th of August on this past week. Those games are Troll and I, Sonic Mania,
Yeah.
the Jackbox Party Pack 1 and 2, Sky Ride,
I don't know.
and Neo Geo's Magician Lord.
Neo Geo, more Neo
So,
Geo games.
yeah,
That's your
so I mean,
virtual console right now, Neo Geo.
yeah, and I'll say like I'm glad that they've been supporting it this way, and hopefully this is going to show Nintendo how to do theirs as well. So yeah, I'm happy for this. But Dantes, which one of those is your game of the week?
Troll and I think that's the game of the week. No doubt about it. What is the Metacritic score right now? 30 points, 30 something. I don't know.
It's
Anyway,
yeah,
Sonic
low to mid
Mania.
thirties.
It's Sonic Mania. It's Sonic Mania. There's no way. I had a lot of fun in the game. So well, we're gonna discuss it pretty soon. But any more games from the store? I guess you agree that Sonic Mania is the game of the week, right?
Yes, it is by far the game of the week, and I mean not only for the Switch but for the other systems as well. So I'm glad that the game is great. It had high expectations, and even though people had well were trying to be critical of the game, it surpassed everybody's expectation. I'm pretty sure Sega is really happy, and like you said earlier, they're pretty worried about their newer game and how they're going to be perceived from now on. So
Yep.
has somebody out Sega is going to
Yes.
be part of the discussion.
Yeah.
So
I'll bet you $100. Yes. But anyway, so since you said that, Calianos, I think it's a good set way to move into a Numa's Nintendo discussion where the topic this week is gonna be Sonic Mania. Woo! And basically, we're gonna give our reviews. Okay. So I don't know. Do you want me to start, Calianos, or do you want to start? And I will divide it in this form, right? We'll divide it in gameplay, graphics, and story, I guess, if you have some story, and then final score. But anyway, Caleones, you want to start?
well, I mean, I'm going to say like the game is it's a really faithful depiction of the original Sega games for Sonic, Sonic 1, 2, Knuckles, Sonic and Knuckles. So it's really faithful to those, and for those people, it might seem like they're just re-releasing the same game again. It does have new aspects to it, but by being faithful to the original games, it's actually probably the best thing that could have happened for the Sonic game. They've been struggling with different concepts and different things they've tried, both in 2D and 3D, but mainly in 3D, which they've really struggled with it. But I was really surprised about how going back to the original formula is actually the best thing for the Sonic games. And I think from now on they probably should treat Sonic the same way that Nintendo treats Mario, which is they have like the new Super Mario games, and they have the 3D Mario games. So I'm pretty sure, and I'm pretty confident that Sega knows that they should have the 2Ds and the 3D Sonic games coexisting side by side, which is why we're going to be seeing this year with Sonic Mania releasing now and Sonic Forces coming as well. And that's something that they should continue to embrace. Graphic wise, I mean, you have the HD version of the games. It still has the same pixel art, and you can change the art as well on there. So you have two different versions of it, but you have the full HD. You can see the full screen on the game, and yeah, I mean for me it's a really it's kind of like what Nintendo has been doing with the NES Mini, what they're probably going to be doing with Super NES Mini, and they're staying faithful, but at the same time providing a better visual, for the game as well. So still staying faithful to the originals, but improving it over toward the HD era. So what do you think, Dantes?
Okay, so I'll put it this way. So, for me, gameplay, classic Sonic, perfect. You run basically really fast across the stage. You're trying to control this motherfucker. Sometimes you can't. I do get mad sometimes where I'm going really fast and high speed and you can't see the monster in front of you, and then you get easily hit. Sometimes there's some cheap hits in the game, but Sonic has always been like this, right? What I would say is if I play this game, I like to play it in handheld mode. I hate how it looks in the big screen TV. And maybe because I have a 4K TV, it does not look good on the TV, right? So I play it in both modes, but handheld mode is my favorite. And also, playing it with handheld modes, like a tablet, sitting up on tablet, but with my Pro controller. I do not like playing it with the Joy-Cons. I admit it, don't like it. I play it handheld mode. I started to get cramped a lot, so I wasn't a huge fan of that mode. But again, that's the beauty about the Switch. You got multiple ways to play the game. But the game looks good when you play it on handheld mode. So again, just personal opinion. The other thing that I will say did not like about the gameplay was the secret stages or the special stages, which are the stages that you get to try to get the Chaos Emeralds. I hated those stages. I do not like them at all. But I still did it. I got all the Chaos Emeralds and I beat the game. The reason I did not like it is more so when you do the bonus stages, which is basically when you hit the pole, the little ring comes out and you get in. What's going on behind you right now? Basically, that was the classic way to get the Chaos Emeralds in Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles, right? And that is the perfect stage to do. To me, it's fun to do them in that way. So you get reminded of how great it used to be to get the Chaos Emeralds, and then you get this shitty UFO stage. Basically, the UFOs just carry the Chaos Emeralds and you're just following. And then the graphics, the aesthetic doesn't look as good compared to the game because you're going from normal 2D sprites, it looks like 2D sprites, to like a polygon Sonic. I don't know. It doesn't merge the aesthetic. So to me, that is the biggest hit I would take from the game. Is I do not like the special stages. Okay. Then we go into bosses. So the bosses, some of them were really fun and some of them were really frustrating. So I honestly preferred the bosses from Sonic and 3 and Sonic and Knuckles. I had way more fun in those games fighting the bosses than in this game. In this game, there were some frustrating bosses. There were some fun ones, like the stage where you fight a Metal Sonic, right, from Sonic City or close to Sonic City. That was a fun boss fight, but there was a couple. Like, I did not like the boss fight where Eggman was swimming and you have to suck him up to the ship. I guess with your, I don't know how you call it, your propeller. You have to bring the water up so Eggman would then get sucked into the propeller and get hit. He would keep dropping like little bombs and you have to keep blowing the little bombs off. Because if you bring Eggman with bombs around, then you would get blown up, right? So there was some boss fights that I did not find fun. Also, like always, if you get the 7 Chaos Emeralds really early in the game, like I did, then the challenge really drops off. Because then you can use Super Sonic for most of the stages, and you can run through them really fast. And then some of the frustrating boss fights then were easier thanks to Super Sonic. So the boss fights, creative. They were really creative. Let me give them some props to the people who did this game. They were really creative in the way the stages, the level design was really good in my opinion. But the boss fights were really creative. It's just some of them were hit and miss. There was even one fucking boss fight that it was like Dr. Mario, where you had to, I don't know if you got to that stage where you had to fight with little, again, like Dr. Mario. So basically it was a puzzle game. And I was like, why in the fuck I have a boss fight in the vein of Dr. Mario? If I wanted to play puzzle games, which I hate, aside from Tetris, I would be playing those games. I wouldn't be playing in here. So again, it was just frustrating, some boss fights. Story-wise, the story was left open. A little bit of spoilers. Sonic get dragged into time and space, I guess. So we don't know where Sonic ended up. So that's what I believe, that there's going to be a sequel. This game, to clarify, it kind of ignores what happens in the Dreamcast era. So basically, it's a sequel from Sonic and 3 and Sonic and Knuckles, right? And basically, the story goes that these robots find an Esmeralda that can travel through time. So that's why you revisit all stages in the game, because you keep traveling back in time. You also play new stages, to clarify, but the remixes from the old stages were really fun. I was kind of happy to see a couple of my favorites come back from Sonic 2 and Sonic 3. So it was the design was really good. But that's the story basically. You were trying to save that time Esmeralda from Eggman. When you get to the final stage, it's a little bit frustrating because the last part you have to travel back and forth between time inside the spaceship to get through and get finally to the end. I wasn't a huge fan of that, but I still pulled through. But again, fun game. I liked it a lot. I say it's the best Sonic game since Sonic and Knuckles. And I did like Sonic Adventures, the first one in the Dreamcast. So let me say I did like that game a lot, but nothing like the originals, right? A lot of people have been saying that this game is better than Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles. I disagree fully. I don't think this game is up there. Is it a good game? Yes, great game, I would say. It's just I still feel that Sonic 2, Sonic 3, and Sonic and Knuckles are way better games than this game, in my personal opinion. But I don't want to take away from the game because the game is really the best Sonic game in a long ass time. At least you're not turning into a wolf. At least you're not fighting with a sword. So there's a lot of good stuff that I see in this game. But anyway, that's my overall impressions of the whole game, or my review of the game. I don't know, Caleones, if you want to add to anything I just said, my friend.
Well, I mean, I just wanted to like kind of like put certain inputs on a couple of things you said. One, Tetris is not the only puzzle game that you like. You also like Lumens, so that's going to be one of those. Second one is that I mean, this is the reason why because you were saying that it's the best game since Sonic and Knuckles that you played, but that's we need to keep separate the 2D and the 3D Sonic games. That's why from now on people are going to have to think of it differently. I know that you were talking about how traveling through time really made him go back to those levels, and that's why the reason why you're replaying those levels. But I feel like people should just think of Sonic from now on as two different timelines. You have the 2D timeline and you have the 3D timeline. So from now on, that's at least for me, that's going to be completely separate, and that's how it should be. Just keep the 2D and the 3D games separate from each other, and
Well, basically, that's what they did because this game ignores everything that happened on the Sonic 3D games, right?
yes,
Again, it's this game is right after. Well, it even ignores Sonic 4 that they did it a couple of years ago. It was a little bit 3D, right? It ignores everything. It's right after Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles. So if you play those games, you'll fall right at home, which I prefer because I did not follow Sonic at all. So to me, the story ended in Sonic and Knuckles. And yes, I did play Sonic Adventures, where I thought it was fun. But like you say, I agree. It's a different timeline. I was just bringing up in the review the story so people will understand where it falls in the timeline. Hey, everybody fights for the Zelda timeline. So everybody puts the 2D and 3D Zelda games all together. I think some people will try to fight this one too and trying to merge all the Sonic games together. But I agree with you. To me, this is the real timeline. Whatever happened in 3D, if he turns into a wolf, or whatever he did, or kiss a human girl for the fairies. Hey, good for them. But this is the real Sonic game to me.
yeah, yeah. I mean that's why they have the different designs for Sonic character as well. So the one, the design for this one is the same one as the original ones. Where on the 3D games you have different designs for Sonic. So I think that should be a good visual cue of what timeline you're going through with the Sonic, or Sonic the Hedgehog. Something else that I would say is as far as the games. I was okay with the gameplay. I'm okay with the emeralds and how you go get the supersonic. But to me, the real replay value of the game is replaying the levels again and trying to do it as fast as you can. So I know you were saying that sometimes you couldn't see one of the enemies in front of you and you would hit it. Um, but to me, that's one of the reasons why the game is good is because those levels should be replayed to the point where you can seamlessly run through it and know it by heart and kind of like doing a speed run. So I think that's the main reason for those games and the main replay value is by mastering the levels to the point where you don't hit any obstacles, you don't hit any enemies, and you just go from point A to point B as fast as you can. So that's why it shouldn't really frustrate you that you accidentally hit something. It's just something that whenever you play it again, you kind of know where the enemies are and you avoid the enemies, the obstacles, and everything else. So that's why I kind of don't understand why certain people say, "Oh, but I don't like Sonic because it doesn't really play like Mario. It's not a
Yeah, it's not
platformer. You're not
Mario.
like jumping and killing enemies and things like that." Sonic has never been about platforming. It's been about speed and about completing the levels as fast as you can. So yes, at first you collect the rings, you collect the emeralds, and you accumulate those. But at the end of the day, it's all about speed. And it's all about going from point A to point B, and the fastest time possible. And that's something that they kind of touch upon with the two-player mode. The two-player mode, it doesn't really play through the story. It seems like they're like full-fledged levels, even though they don't really have like an end boss that you fight, but you do play against another person in couch. I guess couch head-to-head game where you go from point A to point B in what seems to be a full-fledged level without the boss and complete it, and then talk about how much rings you collected, how much time went out. So how do you feel about the co-op level on it?
So I did not play co-op, so I don't know. I basically I beat the game yesterday to clarify, just to be ready for this review, and that's it. I haven't played anymore. I was planning to record some game footage, but today I have a hell of a day with technical problems here at my house with computer and the Elgato game capture card. But at the same time, I haven't played it, but I know to add for the review, it has time attacks too, so you can try to beat the levels in faster time, so you can compare time with people, and then you also have the versus mode that you can play those levels. And once you beat the game, you can play any level you want to. So you can, like you said, you can practice. Yeah, I agree, and that's why I said, yeah, sometimes it's frustrating that you're going that fast and you get hit by an enemy. But I said also in my piece, it was always like that, and even in the old Sonic game. So I wasn't complaining so much about it. I was just saying to be ready because I know there's gonna be a lot of new gamers who are not used to the punishment that was the old school games, right? You can't ask a new gamer to go and beat Mega Man 2 or 3, like we used to do in the old days, right? So but anyway, again, yeah, I haven't played those modes, but I know they're there. They're fun. They add replay value to the game. But like you said, the replay value in this game is replaying the levels, is finding the hidden paths, is collecting the Chaos Emeralds if you haven't done it. It's finding the big rings, across the stages, right? Of course, once I get the 7 Chaos Emeralds, I stop looking for the big rings around the stage. But that's always been Sonic. That's always been the goal, and that's why I like this game. This game reminds me again of Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles. It is not as good as those games, but I think maybe nostalgia is blinding me a little bit, right? I haven't played Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles in close to over 15 years, so I probably don't remember that. But by base of my memory, I would say that I had way more fun with those games. But also, landscape has changed. I'm a different gamer now, so that's maybe why I didn't find this game as good as the old ones. But I'm not saying it's a bad game. I'm saying it's a great game. I'm saying it's the best Sonic game in a while. I bought it for the Switch, right? So this is rare, Nintendo. Me buying a third-party game on your system. So you're doing a good job there. And it's fuck you on Sonic for not putting a plat. What's wrong with that? Anyway, but still, it's a good game, and that's a good game. And I'm gonna give my score. So I'll let you give your conclusion. If I would score this game, I would give it an 8.0. An 8. To me, this game is really good. It's really strong. I think 8 is a great score, so it deserves it. Again, to me, the best Sonic 2D Sonic game in a long ass time. Anyway, Caleones, you want to give your final thoughts on the game?
Uh, yeah, I mean, about playing the game, and on what system. For me, the Switch is the best way to play the game. It actually took me back to the days when I would go and stay over your house on the summers. I would get your Game Gear
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
would play Sonic on the Game Gear.
Yep.
It felt the same way. It is just perfect playing it on the handheld. I mean, I love playing on the TV, but something about the handheld
Yeah.
and how it plays on it,
Handheld's
it was
better.
special.
Yep.
Yeah, it
I
was
agree.
really, really special. I'm gonna take my hats off and to Christian Whitehead, which Christian Whitehead is I think it's from Australia. He's the
Developer.
guy that was
Yep.
yeah that was the developing here the game. Thankfully, Sega did adopt the idea and they continue working with them together and brought out the game. So um, I'm gonna have a couple of questions for you before also give my score, or actually I'll give my score first and then ask you a couple of things about Sonic Mania. So
Okay.
for me. Uh, I'm pretty much along the same lines as the Metacritic score. So I'm giving it an 85, 8.5 on the game. So um, it's a great throwback to the old titles. Like you said, it's great that it ties in with the original Sega Genesis games as well, and it's just like the perfect way to play Sonic, be it on the TV and especially on the go on the Nintendo Switch. So great title, and it's only $20. It's not
Yep.
$60 or anything. It's only $20, and it gives you that great feeling of like making Sonic great again.
Hey, if people complain out there, then this game you can beat in 2 hours tops, right? If $20 is too much, we used to play the same length for a game. We used to pay $60 for Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles individually, not
Or
together.
more for the cartridges.
Yeah, individually. So and I loved it. I loved again merging Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles together is to me the best Sonic game. That's why I keep saying together, right? Sonic 3, this game Sonic Mania could compete with those games more if you put them separately. But if once you connected Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles, it was a full story, full game across all the stages. So that's why I love that game so much. But anyway, going back. So don't complain. $20 I think is the right price for this game.
Okay, so this is going to be my first question for you.
Hmm.
So did Sega do a good job by enlisting Christian Whitehead and adapt his concept for a new Sonic game? And should more developers embrace what Sega has done and enlist super fans or super developers who are not only talented but making great versions of their current franchises? So what do you think about about Sega doing this, and should other companies do the same?
Yes, yes, and yes. So, Sega, props for you guys that you found this guy and you're like, oh, this game is really good. Hey, we don't have a clue how to make a Sonic game. Hey, let's give it to this guy. Maybe he'll figure it out. And look at that. Everybody's kissing his ass, right? You did the right thing right there. I think that was great. Props for Sega. Props for not shutting down this fan-made project because a lot of companies shuts down those fan-made projects.
Yeah,
Capcom
and
kind of did something.
Nintendo's
Yeah,
really
Nintendo's
tough on
really
that.
bad on it. I didn't want to throw you there under the bus there, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I'll bring it up.
Nintendo is really bad with that, and hopefully they'll get better. If they learn something from Mario Maker, is there's a lot of talented developers out there who could make a great Mario game, and again, it's cheap labor. Cheap labor. It's like what the guy who was doing the remake of Resident Evil 2, right? Or not the remake. Yeah, remake. Yeah, it's not a remaster. It's a full remake, full remake of Resident Evil 2. And Capcom said, "Oh, this motherfucker has a lot of talent. Let's steal him and let's see if we can make Resident Evil 2." So instead of shutting down the program, they're giving money to this kid and continue developing in for Resident Evil 2 remake. Not only, and to clarify, not only Nintendo is bad at it, Square stuff also was awful. There was a lot of fan-made Final Fantasy VII sequels, and they were always gonna shut them down. They never liked them. Also, there's been a lot of games that they're again Nintendo in this one that they have remade even stages from Ocarina of Time in the Unreal Engine 4. It looks beautiful, right? And they're like, nope, shut them down. And I'm like, fuckers, just let him finish it. Take him with you, pay him, and then you have again cheap labor. You have a developed game, test it so you can make sure that the quality is good, right? And then you can even help him to finish the game. So I guess sorry for the long rant, but I guess I'm gonna close with saying yes. More companies should do that. If you see a talented motherfucker out there and he's again making a game for you that basically is free, and you just need to pay him a little bit, of course you're gonna get a lot of money. Of course. But anyway, my opinion, yes, companies should keep doing
Yeah,
this.
I mean it's one of those where Sega didn't really have to get their people to and dedicate them on working on this game. Those people are free to work on other things as well. So they don't have to worry about taking talent from a title they're working on, putting on this. No, somebody is already doing it for you. So it's not something that you got to spend millions of dollars paying this person because at the end of the day, Sega does own the IP. They do own the character and they do have control of if the game is going to see the light of day, if they're going to shut it down or not. But they did do the right thing. There's other games where I mean, you have, for example, like Mario with a shotgun killing people and stuff like that. So of course, Nintendo's going to protect their IP and not release games like that. But there are other ideas that are really worthwhile. There's been a couple of Pokemon games where there were online games where it was kind of like an MMO with other people joining in, playing in the same world, fighting each other, and they went ahead and shut those down. So I understand, and it's not. I mean, Pokemon is a bad example because it's not necessarily Nintendo per se, it's also the Pokemon company. But when you have not only a talented developer but a great idea for a game, and basically, like you said, it's free because the company's not spending money on it, it's somebody else doing it for you. Then one, go ahead and embrace the idea. If it's as long as it's a good one, give that person the support. Yeah, give them some money as well because I'm pretty sure 100,000, 200, $300,000 for that person is going to be a lot, but for the company, it's not going to be much at all. That you're spending on something that potentially is going to sell millions of copies and make you millions upon millions of dollars. So I'm very happy that Sega did this. Like I said, my hats off to Christian Whitehead because he did a great job on the game, and I'm glad that Sonic Mania is reaping the benefits from this co-venture in between Sega and Christian Whitehead.
Agreed. Agreed, Caleones. Well said. Any other questions you have?
No, I think we're pretty good for now. I'm just gonna go ahead and try to continue collecting everything on Sonic Mania, but I'm enjoying the game. It's great.
Yep. No, it's a good game. Again, to finish our final review score, Caleones gives the game an 8.5. Myself, Dantes, gives the game an 8.0, which means it's a quality game. How you slice it and dice it is still over 8. So again, it falls in line, I think, with the Metacritic score that is currently 4, Sonic Mania. Anyway, fun review. We like the game. But let's just end this show, hopefully with no more technical difficulties. If you see some quick edits, I apologize. My shitty equipment just been falling today. Anyway. Caleones, thank you for joining me. And you out there, thank you for joining me on today's Get In and Get Out Nintendo Podcast Episode 12 right here at the Force In Unison Gaming channel. Of course, remember, this podcast goes live every Monday, 6 p.m. Mr. Time. Go watch us, subscribe, like, and comment so you can make these two crazy motherfuckers happy. Also, if you don't want to see our ugly faces, we got the solution for you. Go to SoundCloud and iTunes and download this podcast for free. Of course, rate us over there so you can show us some love. Also, remember that we have a small Facebook page called at Force In Unison Gaming. And finally, and Dantes says finally, go to chiguerosnews.com and give some love and clicks to my boy Caleones. With all that said, thank you again. Long live Nintendo. See you guys.
Hey, have a great one, everyone.